Okay, so who in here knows somebody or they themselves use social networking or social media too much? Good numbers, I kind of expected that. The world is becoming rapidly more and more reliant and dependent on technology. And I don't really think that's such a good thing. I mean, it's not exactly a bad phenomenon if we use technology responsibly. And I get that responsibility is kind of a vague and ambiguous word. So for now, let's just constrain it and define it as ethics as they pertain to social and some professional issues. So I'm going to describe to you how to use technology irresponsibly and how that can hurt you in your professional field and in social settings. And then towards the end, I'll suggest a few ways to kind of break that addiction. So, first, the professional side. The biggest, most terrifying fiend to your possible future can be Facebook or any social networking site in general. And I don't need to tell you guys this because we're all adults here, we've all heard this 1,000 times, but to really drive the point home, once you put something on the internet, it cannot be taken down. It's permanent. And in many ways, this is a permanent public reservoir of past mistakes. Amy Clark did a report and said that many employers look at Facebook or other social networking profiles as a preliminary scan. And a lot of people have pictures of partying and drug use on their profiles. And this can and has lost people potential hires in really good paying, good jobs. And I understand that's not exactly fair, but it's how the world is right now. K.P. Marshall wrote an article in the Journal of Business Ethics entitled, "Has Technology Introduced New Ethical Problems?" in which he stated that after a new technology is introduced, there was a period of time after our initial euphoria about it that professionals will sit down and debate guidelines on how to use it in the professional world. So in the future, Facebook may not be used against you because they may deem it not a good judge of character because it's in the past and people grow up, people make mistakes. But for now, it might. So I just urge you to be careful and use caution when putting something on the internet. Next, we're going to see how technology may be harmful in a social setting. Many people just become so entrapped by technology that they can barely live outside of it. There are some studies going on that suggest that overuse of social media may lead to being antisocial, and it's much more dangerous for kids. Jenny Pittisey did a report and generally found that kids that overuse social media by just going home, getting on the internet, instant messaging, texting people, aren't learning and aren't picking up the social cues needed to successfully navigate a strenuous or awkward moment in conversation as adults. We all know how crucial that is just to get by in life. And it's because they're not having face-to-face interaction. They're not seeing how positive and negative comments are received by people, how they react to these stimuli. Further, this can lead to you missing very important opportunities. Brian Hark, the Dean of Students at the University of Southern California, saw a student who did this. Basically, this dean was invited to a dinner party that was hosted by another professor, and he sat next to the student who had also been invited. And all through dinner, this student just looked at his phone, he texted, and even made calls during dinner. So not only did the student come across as just completely rude, he missed important opportunities to engage socially with these figures that are very respected. Their word carries value in their respective fields. These professors could write him letters of recommendation, pass him along some job opportunities, and that could help him professionally. And I just said professionally, that's a throwback to the professional issues. Having technology cripple you in the social arena can hurt you also in the professional side. So it's not always one or the other. If left unchained, a technology addiction can cripple you in more ways than one. But I've just sat up here and ranted about the problem, so there are a few solutions. I'm going to list two. The first one's a little extreme, admittedly, but it seems effective. It involves just completely cutting off technology through these no-tech hotel services. In a report for ABC News, G. Brown explained that both Marriott and Renaissance hotel chains have opened special braincation zones designed to help visitors disconnect from work by having no technology. They did this because they did a survey and they found that so many guests were still stressed because they were connected to work and they couldn't actually break away from that. So instead of technology, they offer beverages and a lot of device-free entertainment. But I know that's really excessive, and it's kind of expensive because most of these hotels are outside the U.S. And as college kids, we can't just up and go, oh, I want to take a vacation to the Caribbean now. We can't really afford that. So the less intense one has no real official title, but I call it the restaurant cell phone game. Basically to encourage face-to-face interaction. When you go out to eat, everyone puts their phone in the center of the table. That way you can't get into Twitter, you can't check Facebook, you can't talk to people who aren't here. You're supposed to talk to the people you're with. First person to reach in and touch their phone pays for everybody. That's pretty good incentive if you have a large group of people for a large dinner party. So, in conclusion, let's wrap up. Letting technology completely run our lives is extremely problematic. It's not to say technology is bad. Technology is great. It allows us to have fast communication, easy access of information, and spreading of ideas. So technology is great, but we can't let it control us. We have to be the ones using technology, not the other way around. So is there any questions?